In the dark underbelly of a forgotten land where only whispers carried the tales of horror, one name struck fear into the hearts of all: Craxel, the Skull Crusher. A monstrous figure who roamed the desolate lands, his path was paved with broken bones and blood-stained earth. Legend had it that Craxel wasn't always a monster. He was once a respected warrior, known for his unparalleled strength. But greed and rage consumed him after he was betrayed by his own clan, leaving him for dead after a failed coup. Craxel survived, barely, but he emerged from death's grasp, changed. His body was broken, but a darker force found him in his weakest moment. In exchange for his soul, he was granted immense power and a weapon, a hammer so massive it could crush skulls with a single blow. The hammer became his signature, its weight no burden to the cursed strength Craxel now wielded. For years, Craxel exacted his revenge. One by one, the men and women who betrayed him were found dead, their skulls crushed beyond recognition. But Craxel didn't stop there. He was consumed by a bloodlust so intense that he became a nightmare in the region, hunting anyone who crossed his path. His victims' crushed bones were left as a grotesque signature of his wrath. One stormy night, a group of mercenaries decided they had enough of the Skull Crusher's reign of terror. They were the best, elite hunters who had never failed a mission. They tracked Craxel to an old, forgotten fortress deep in the wilderness, a place long abandoned. Inside, the air was thick with the stench of death. Skulls lined the walls and bones crunched beneath their feet as they walked cautiously, their weapons drawn. As they moved further into the fortress, the silence was broken by a deep, menacing laugh that echoed through the stone halls. Suddenly, from the shadows, Craxel emerged, his hammer dragging behind him, creating a low, terrifying screech. His figure, towering and monstrous, filled the mercenaries with dread. "Fools," he growled, his voice low and grating. "You seek to end me. I am death incarnate." The battle was swift and brutal. One by one, the mercenaries fell, their heads shattered, their skulls nothing more than crushed remnants of what they once were. Craxel's eyes gleamed with sadistic pleasure as he decimated his would-be assassins, his hammer relentless. But it wasn't just physical strength that Craxel possessed. His dark pact had given him other powers. As the last surviving mercenary tried to flee, Craxel whispered an ancient curse, and the man's legs gave way. The mercenary looked up in horror as Craxel loomed over him, the hammer raised for the final blow. "Run! Tell your kind of the Skull Crusher," Craxel said with a dark grin. "But you will not live to see the dawn." With that, the hammer came down, ending the man's life with a sickening crunch. Craxel disappeared into the night, a shadow that moved with the storm. No one dared to speak his name again. The land fell into silence, haunted by the memory of the Skull Crusher, whose legacy was written in blood and broken bones. Craxel's reign of terror continues, and the few who survived his wraith never speak of the monster they encountered, for fear that he would return, his hammer ready to crush anyone who dared stand in his way.